Hey, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me on today's video. I'm going to be flipping through my February pages. So all the things that went on in my daily planner for the month of February. I got a really great response when I did this for January, so I figured I'd bring it back. Everybody voted. Well, everybody who spoke up voted to see the flips regularly, and I think I'll continue until you guys get bored. Or I don't know if anything changes. Of course, I'll always update that. But if you are new here, thank you so much for joining and clicking on this video. The planner I use is the Sterling Ink Common Planner, and it is in the N1 size, which is the same as standard traveler's notebook size. And the cover that I have it in is a Verenger Spec Custom. Yeah, that's that. So I do have other videos talking more in depth about the cover and the setup. I'll have those linked down below, but you should probably be able to easily find them on my channel because they weren't that long ago. So today is officially March the 1st, and we are into the next month. February is over, so I figured this will be the perfect time to flip through all of my February pages, and hopefully I can get that video up by this weekend. So yeah, let's get started. So I did do the March setup, which that video is on my channel if you're interested to see what that is looking like. But here we have the monthly layout and everything is pretty much the same. I did note, some appointments and everything, and also highlighted additional information that I wanted to capture on this spread. And I typically like to do that in a contrasting color. However, the color that I chose, or at least I thought I chose for this month, pretty much looks black. So it was supposed to be like a lighter gray ink, and that is not showing up. It's likely because I mixed inks together, and I know that I shouldn't have done that, but here we are. So you can't really see those things. They don't stand out as much. I'm okay with that. So this is the monthly layout. It worked extremely well for me. What I've noticed over the past few months, I would usually write down a few notes and maybe some micro journaling on my monthly layouts. And I haven't been doing that for the past couple of months. I don't know why. It's not like I want to stop or anything. It just hasn't happened. And that's okay. Things change and shift and morph as time goes on, but I will show you that I still haven't done anything with this column. I don't anticipate doing anything with it. I thought that I might move like more deco into it, but I feel like with the bolder bottom and the little bit of deco up at the top for both months, and I did the same thing for March, adding extra deco over to the left side would just seem like too much, or it would feel like too much for me, so I left it here. So this is how my monthly layout filled out throughout the course of the month. Now getting into the weeklies, so here is the first weekly for February. There's 4 days in February, 3 days in January, so I consider it a February weekly. And I'll pull you in just a little bit closer. So here's the first weekly. Now, this is my typical standard layout, which I call like the timetable kind of layout. I don't use the times necessarily, but I do like to plot out the order in which things are going to happen throughout my day, like what I'm going to work on first and then second, and so on. And I have a section for my workouts and a section for the dinners that we had, as well as a section down at the bottom for weekly tasks that I want to get done, and a cleaning schedule. So this is the weekly layout I've been using for ever, pretty much a really long time. Definitely over a year, maybe 2, I don't know. So this is nothing new if you've seen my flip throughs on my channel before. I will say, as we get into the additional months of February, like week 2, 3, 4, my layouts are completely different. And that is because I was working on, or am working on, an experiment of sorts. So for each week of February, and I consider there to be 5. So for each week of February, I was doing a different layout. There's also a bonus one, so there's a sixth one. And I do have a video actually that I'm compiling and putting together, and you will actually see that the week after this one. So you know what to do. If you want to see that video, want to make sure you don't miss it, please be sure to subscribe. But I'm going through and I'm testing out different weeklies, and I'm talking about the things that I've learned with using them. But most importantly, I think I'm going through and explaining who these weeklies will work best for, depending on your planning style. So if you want to see more about that, please do check in. And I won't go into too much detail about my thoughts on these weeklies for February because it'll all be in that video and I don't want to be too redundant. But there were some highlights and there were some lowlights. There were some of these weeks that I absolutely struggled to get through, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in that video. But this is how all of the weeklies for February shaped up. Pretty straightforward. And of course, I enjoyed using them, even though I say that, you know, I hated some of them. I still enjoyed using my planner on a daily basis. And here is my tracker for February. So unlike January, I use the dot to mark things, the habits that I'm tracking for the month. That works out just fine. I had been doing that previous to January, but I mentioned in that January video, I believe the flip through video, that turning the book sideways in order to do my check marks was bothering me. So I switched over to a signifier that I could use and just, so I won't have to turn the book in order to do it. So that was dots for this month. I'm still tracking at the bottom my energy levels as well as my sleep hours. My sleep has been terrible, like for the past 2 weeks, which is very unfortunate. I'm working through that. We'll figure it out. For March, though, I decided to use a different signifier. I think we're going to go with like a slash through the box. We'll see if I like it. I also was debating if I wanted to remove weight from this graph down at the bottom. Admittedly, it makes it a much prettier graph when you have a lot of things to track. However, I don't weigh myself regularly, first of all, so I don't really have that information to put down here, but also I think I would capture that information in my health and fitness planner. So maybe it wouldn't really go here. Yeah, so I'm debating just removing it altogether. We'll see. So that's a tracker for February. And then getting into the main part, which is my dailies. But before the dailies, we have the dashboard. So here's the dashboard I set up for the month of February. And it worked. It worked just fine. I, again, didn't really flip to this page much. I think it's just a pretty landing spot in my planner, and that's exactly what it's for. I still like it. I still enjoy it. I will still continue to include it. I did that for March, and we will continue going forward. The next page, or the second part of that page, that spread, I should say, is my one line a day over on the left, and I've continued with that through the entire month. Right after that, then we get into the dailies. You can see that it's pretty full. And one thing I noticed that I have been doing for the entire month was really putting a whole lot of days on a 2-page spread. So I didn't really use a whole lot of the notes pages in February. I did, if you recall, or if you watched that video. If you did not, I will bring you up to speed. During my setup video, I did count out about 28 pages per month. So that's how I kind of have them divided a little bit, like nothing permanent. I have these little sticky notes or sticky tabs. There's one here. Sticky tabs to kind of signify to myself when the next month should be starting. So even with that, I knew that I would be doing like a weekly review after each week. I knew that of that 28 pages, I would have to put in my dashboard as well. So all of those things would take up space and I wouldn't be able to devote one whole page to a day for most of the months. And that's fine because for, I would say at least 50% of my days, I don't use a full page. Sometimes I do. More often than not, I don't. Lately, though, it seems like I don't know if I have used a full page at all in February for like one day. We will see as we flip through. But anyway, I do have more notes and things. Also some micro journaling that I put in here. When I first started this kind of layout, I would differentiate between when I write in script and when I write in print. So I would differentiate like the types of notes or the types of journaling that I would put in here. And some of them would be written in script, some of them would be written in cursive, but now it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's whatever I'm feeling at the moment. I am actually a type of person who tends to write in a mixture of both. My handwriting looks like cursive and script all at the same time. So this was a very full spread, and I added some deco from the Sterling Ink kit for February. And then we get into my week 5 review over on the left, and on the right, I put together this life admin spread. And I'm pretty sure I'll be doing a video on this, or a video that will talk about this and reference this later, because for February, I was feeling like I just wasn't ready to take on the month. Like I was not ready for life to, start lifing. So I needed to kind of write down all of the tasks that I like to do in my monthly reset to put it in one central spot. Of course, I'm pretty sure I have this written down in some other form, in some other planners over the years, but I wanted a refreshed and updated version of it, and I put it together in this kind of list or task list sort of setup. I feel like it has a name for this type of list, but I can't remember what it is. And I'm not entirely finished yet filling in all these sections at the bottom either. But I will circle back to this probably in a monthly reset video. So moving on, here we have more of the dailies where I didn't include a lot of writing. So I had to add, not had to, so I wanted to add more deco. So I think like after this week passed and this large spot of unused space was kind of bothering me, I decided to stamp in some colors that were coordinating with the kit. So that worked just fine to fill in some space. I don't always do that, but sometimes I do, especially if I have some time. And as you can see, so like this week was just 2 spreads, including the weekly review, the week 6 review. So that is highly unusual for me. I would normally use, I guess, at least 3 spreads for a week, but it is what it is. So I feel like for the month of February, I definitely wasn't getting very detailed in my dailies. I certainly was not doing a lot of micro journaling and note taking within my dailies either. But I have been keeping up with stamping. So you may have noticed that these are some stamps that I just have in my collection, and I use an olive green colored ink because I thought it coordinated well. And I left myself a note here that I wanted to include a photo of a snowman that we built because we had a snow day. So I will come back and add that. I was just trying to decide how I wanted to print it. If I just wanted to print it on regular paper or if I wanted to actually print out a photo on my Canon selfie. But anyway, so here we get into more dailies and just additional notes and that week 7 review. Oh, and this is as we're nearing towards the end of the month. These sticky notes are not covering anything. So here we have a spread where there's again a lot of white space, which doesn't bother me necessarily, but I did use it as an opportunity to park a few Post-it notes. Even though I do have this that I made, and it's in my setup video, to house my stickers and some sticky notes. I just parked a couple of sticky notes here in case I'm going to need them over the next, I don't know, several days. So I know where to come back and grab those. But once these are gone or removed, I'm not going to write anything in this section. I'm not going to add any stickers. I'm not going to add anything. So here's another spread that was the end of the week. So like the second half of this week, and I knew for sure I was going to be extremely busy, wasn't going to be in my planner every single day, or at least wasn't going to be in my planner a lot. So I knew that there would be no journaling. I also knew that I needed a little bit of a brain dump so that I could stay on top of some tasks that would be spanning from this Thursday through that Sunday. So I took this opportunity to write those down in the middle and then just added some of the deco stickers to fill in things. I thought about stamping something here, but I moved on. So then I did do the review for that week. So that's the week 8 review. And I reserved this spot to document some of the things I recently purchased. I'm on this kind of wardrobe refresh kind of kick. I feel like I haven't been purchasing clothes for a long time, which is fine, of course. But when it's time for me to, put an outfit together or something, I feel like I'm missing pieces. So I do want to, and this actually, now I have another idea of what I might want to do here. But I think I was going to use this page anyway to document things that I've recently purchased to add to my wardrobe. So that's what these little stickers or these little pieces of paper that I printed out, these pictures, I'm going to stick those in here and maybe write a little blurb about all of those. But I just had another idea, which we'll get to in a minute. So this is the end of February. So this is the 26th through the 29th. And I mentioned doing a lot more memory keeping inside of my daily planner since I'm not doing a designated or dedicated memory journal for 2024. And this is one of those examples. So I don't know if you know, but McDonald's came out with a sauce. It's called the McDonald's sauce, and it's based on the McDonald's versions that you'll see in anime. But anyway, I'm not really into anime, but I'm into McDonald's sauces whenever they come out with new ones. But this one was like soy and garlic and ginger and chili, and it sounded really good. And a friend of mine and I were talking about it, and my husband just so happened to come in the house with it. So that's exactly what I was journaling here. And then I got this from the receipt. This was the back of the McDonald's receipt, actually. So I took this and stuck a piece of lined scrapbooking paper to the other side of it. And that's where I journaled a little bit about this. So I just tipped this right into the center of my planner. So I really like incorporating places or little spots of memory journaling like this inside of my daily planner. So that's an example of that. And then, like I said, this is the 26th through the 29th. So that is the end of February. And to wrap it all up, I do what I always do, which is my monthly review, like memory spread. So that's what I have here. I printed out a few photos and stamped and wrote some blurbs about how our February went. And that's what I have there. So I mentioned that I had designated a certain number of pages for each month. And because I hadn't been using a lot of dailies, or I haven't been using long dailies for February, I ended up having 2 full spreads. So that's 4 pages of unused space here. And when I was showing you this new end spread, I was thinking that it might be cool to do some type of capsule wardrobe documentation on these pages, maybe. I don't know. I have to think through how I want that to look, but it goes along with doing a lot more journaling or memory keeping in my planner. It goes along with just incorporating a lot more collections and things that are pretty that I want to look at. So I think that's what I'm going to do with these 2 spreads back here. Originally, I was a little bit disappointed that I had already started March a little bit further. If I had waited a bit, maybe I would have been able to see that I wasn't going to use these spreads. But of course, this wouldn't have been wasted paper. I just would have, reserved them for future collections, and knowing that they were here, I would just come back and put them here. So anyway, I think I'm going to use these 2 spreads to do some capsule wardrobe type of documentation. I mean, I would love to have a capsule wardrobe. I'm not sure if I'm the capsule wardrobe kind of person because I just have a lot of stuff, but I don't know. So that's what I think I'll be doing here. So all that rambling to say, that is my February flip through. I think it's pretty straightforward according to the usual way that I use my planner on a daily basis. I was surprised to see that I haven't been doing much journaling throughout the dailies. That is definitely new for me. So I don't know if as March goes on, if I will be journaling a bit more, or will I attempt, to write a bit more? I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how time goes. I do feel like February was one of those weird kinds of months where time just seemed odd. It moved slow and fast at the same time. It just felt like I could not catch up. Yet, I don't know. So February was really weird for me. And I think it does show in my planner based on the fact that I didn't have a lot going on in my dailies, which is where I'm usually doing a lot. But we'll see how March shapes up. I do feel like I have a better handle on my time and how I'm using it and organizing it. Of course, with the use of this life admin spread, or just getting back to my monthly reset type of routine, I'm able to kind of plan my time a bit better ahead of time. So I'm excited to see how that all shapes up for the month of March. And of course, I'll have a video at the end of March showing you how I use my planner, if anything changed or if anything adjusted, and what I'm thinking and what I'm using. So if that sounds interesting to you in any kind of way, if you are not already subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. And I thank you so much for following along today on this video with me. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I will also link any videos I mentioned down below as well. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.